This is Business Week Armenia, Civilnet's weekly economic digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia this week. Armenia's banks together posted nearly $923 million in profit last year, in a sign the country's banking sector remains one of the main beneficiaries of the regional economic knock-on effects of Russia's war in Ukraine. That's according to Daniel Azatyan, the head of Armenia's Union of Banks, who announced the updated figures at a Yerevan press conference last week. That represents a year-on-year increase in profit of almost 58% and marks the third straight year of exceptionally strong growth in Armenia's banking sector. In 2023, Armenia's 18 commercial banks reported about $585 million in profit, in addition to another $667 million the year prior. As of the end of last year, Armenia's banks held assets worth nearly $28 billion, Azatyan continued, while liabilities approached $23.4 billion. Loan portfolios grew to about $16.3 billion, split nearly evenly between lending to individuals and businesses. Each of those numbers is up by about 20% year on year. After the Kremlin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in early 2022, Armenia quickly emerged as a key destination for Russian capital seeking foreign shelter. That has played a major role, observers say, in the rapid growth of Armenia's banking sector. Turnover in Armenia's burgeoning information technology sector topped $2.3 billion last year, according to Mkhitar Hayrapetyan, the country's high-tech industry minister, who gave the new numbers at a press conference in Yerevan last week. That represents a year-on-year increase of about 9% and means the tech sector now accounts for nearly 9% of Armenia's total GDP. This demonstrates that Armenia has already established a competitive technological environment that is constantly evolving and attracting new ideas, talents, and investments, Hayrapetyan said, adding his agency is now working on ambitious plans to double tech's share in the country's economy. As of the end of last year, the tech industry employed about 41,500 people, including thousands of Russian migrants. That is up by more than 22% compared to the year prior. The tech sector is often seen as Armenia's most dynamic and promising industry, and Armenian tech companies have long benefited from preferential tax treatment and generous government support. In January, a new package of tax breaks came into effect that officials expect will save the tech industry about $80 million every year. Those benefits will remain in force through the end of 2031. Armenia's cabinet decided last week to grant loan guarantees worth $150 million to Lydian International, the operator of the long-stalled Amulsar gold mine project, which says it needs the money to finish building production facilities at the site in Armenia's southeast. Lydian is expected to take loans from Armenian banks after the Russian-led Kazakhstan-based Eurasian Development Bank declined last year to finance the project in still unclear circumstances. Amulsar, Armenia's second biggest gold deposit, has been embroiled in political and environmental controversy for years. Lydian first broke ground at Amulsar in 2016, but construction quickly stalled, and nearly a decade on, mining has still not started. After years of inaction, the Armenian government breathed new life into the project in early 2023, reaching an agreement with Lydian to move the project forward in exchange for a lucrative 12.5% stake. The government took its minority stake in the project late last year. Lydian, which is ultimately owned by private equity firms in Canada and the United States, says it now expects production at Amulsar to begin in the fourth quarter of the year. For its part, the U.S. Embassy in Yerevan quickly welcomed the Armenian government's decision to issue loan guarantees for the project, writing in a post on social media that the move will create jobs and prosperity and signals that Armenia is open for U.S. businesses. Armenian officials say the government stands to make up to $100 million every year in revenues and taxes if Amulsar is finally put into operation. Amulsar alone would grow Armenia's economy by 1 to 1.5% per annum, officials forecast. Armenia's cabinet approved a first-of-its-kind law last week regulating cryptocurrencies, a move Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan hailed as a bold and decisive step for the country. The legislation empowers Armenia's central bank to oversee crypto transactions made in the country and requires crypto companies to register themselves, disclose their owners, meet minimum capital requirements, and follow rules aimed at preventing money laundering and terrorist financing. Previously, crypto was completely unregulated in Armenia. Speaking at last week's cabinet meeting, Finance Minister Vahe Hovhannisyan noted the prior lack of regulatory framework led to legal problems and argued the new law will enable the crypto sector to create a predictable operating environment. Figures showing the number of crypto users or value of crypto assets in Armenia were not immediately available, though they are believed to be growing. And finally, if you're looking to navigate Armenia's new Universal Income Declaration system, you can find our full guide up now on our website at civilnet.am or through the link in the video description below. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.